Hi, I am Tamika Cheatham, Executive Director at the Craftsmen Guild of Mississippi. I am so excited to introduce to you a new video series called the Crafty View, featuring our prestigious craftsmen. In this series, we will learn about their work, inspiration, and in some cases, watch them demonstrate. We hope you enjoy watching it as much as we enjoy presenting it to you. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And thank you so much for your support. Have a crafty day.
Hello, everyone. I'm Diane Williams, the host for today's show, and the show is the Crafty View. I will be interviewing one of Mississippi's great craftsmen, Bro Shambe, and he's from the Metro Jackson area, and he's here with us today to talk about the type of work that he does. Welcome, Bro Shambe.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You know, I've been seeing you around for many, many years, and you look too young to be doing this artwork that you've been doing for so long. So I'm anxious to find out a little bit more about what it is you do and how you do it. Tell us about your art form. And is there just one?
No, I do a variety of different mediums, but for as the Craftsmen's Guild, I'm definitely doing the wood burn, the pyrography, is what it's called, and so that's what I do. I love it. It's a thing that I just gravitated to, and been doing it ever since. It's just what it is burning on top of a like wooden surface. You can also use leather as well. With a hot metal tip, they have different tips, and I can get different effects and textures out of it. And so, yeah, that's how it goes down.
How long have you been doing this?
I've been doing it for about 20 years. I started with going to the craft store to get some supplies for a project I had in class, and I seen the tool and just, I was like, I need to try that out. So I bought it, started on a small piece, and then loved it and went big. So it's been about 20 years now, or maybe almost 21 now.
Amazing. How long have you been a member of the Craftsmen's Guild?
Well, I just made fellow member last year, so it's about 10 years now, which is great. It's been a good thing.
Amazing. I didn't know you've been in the guild about as long as I've been in the guild. Wonderful. What is your focus when you create, and does that ever change?
Um, my focus, and it does change, but my focus is to visually put on the wood what I have in my mind. And when I say that changes, it because sometimes I let the wood dictate what it is that I'm going to create. Sometimes I have some images that I just want to do, but sometimes the wood has creative grains and knots that sort of dictates or encourage me to do certain things. So, yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. And do you, when you look around, do you kind of see, um, I see things in nature. I see things when, diversity in designs and things when I look around. What about you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm heavily influenced by nature and music. So those two things combined is what a lot of my pieces are about, So, I definitely see like I was talking about the wood grain and how it manipulates some of the visual things that I see that could go on that particular piece of wood. So it definitely influences me.
Do you work with a certain type of wood? What are the varieties of wood that you work with?
I've mostly worked with birch. It seems to be the right color for what I like to do. Working on darker woods seems to not give me the tones that I want, because I also use wood stain to sort of give it I don't know, some depth. And so, the lighter the wood, the better for me. And so I usually work on birch.
Where do you find your wood? Do you have to prep it? I know you said you stain it, but do you have to prep it before you start using it?
Sometimes I buy wood from, like, Home Depot, Lowe's. But some people donate wood to me because they know that's what I'm into. And sometimes I find things, and some may need to be prepared, some don't. Sometimes I have to do some sanding. Sometimes I have to do some type of pre work for it. But it just depends on where I get the wood from, how old it is, the pieces. You know.
Are you educated in the arts at all?
Yeah, well, I've always been in the arts pretty much all my life, but it was when I entered the arts program at Jackson State that I became, like, I guess, serious, like on a professional level, like me wanting to do it on a professional level and as a career. And so I went to Jackson State and got a bachelor's degree in arts there. During that time, I also participated in their study abroad program through Drew University, and went to Cote d'Ivoire, Africa for a summer, and learned a variety of different crafts and experienced that whole idea. And it was beautiful.
That's amazing. You know, there are a lot of people that'll look at the craftsman's work and they'll say, oh, I think I could do that. And they have no idea the
Uh,
education that goes behind it. To study in Africa, what a fabulous opportunity that had to be. Oh,
it,
my goodness. Because,
it,
people may not know how much West African people a lot of people work with wood.
yes, yes. And that was the more fascinating things, because, like I said, we did a variety of different things, but working with wood, doing the sculpture. I mean, like, speaking of the schooling, I studied sculpture and ceramics at Jackson State. That was my medium that I worked with and studied. So the wood burning is a result of me basically teaching myself out of falling in love with the tool itself. But yeah, we've did sculpting with the wood there in Africa, and we did brass casting. We did batik dyeing. It was a whole summer full of fun craft work that was going on.
Let's talk about the importance of mentoring. Has someone ever mentored you outside of your travels to Africa? And have you mentored anyone else? And have you seen in your community others doing what you do? Are there a lot of people doing what you do?
Um, as far as mentoring, I've taken classes, or I would say maybe apprenticeships with people as a younger child. Um, and my father and my mother, both are very creative people. I have aunts and uncles that's also creative, so I've dabbled and did things with them, but nothing on a major scale. But I have done mentoring and teaching through the Jackson public school system. I've also done it with a organization uh, in Jackson, Cooperation Jackson, and some on my own. My main student is my youngest son. He always wants to work on what I'm working on, and I'm trying to get him to learn. So I tell him, there's no erasing with wood burning. So I can't. If I'm working on something for somebody, I can't have him on that piece. So I give him something, teach him some things. But yeah.
Very nice. Um, I'd love to, you mentioned working with leather, and I hope to see some of that work at some point. I don't think
Yeah.
I've seen any of your work in leather. I do own some of your work, and I'm grateful to have that. And I can't wait for you to show the people some of the things that you do. Let's talk a little bit more, though, about your impressions from the field. What do you envision as it relates to the arts for the future. Do you have any thoughts about that?
Yeah, it's very important. It gives you a sense of expression, and it's something that I feel that, especially with like wood burning, there's not a lot of people that do it, and that's one of the reasons why I really fell in love and entrenched myself in that lane. But it's something that could be expressed in art for the future. Is something that, I mean, like, children loves it. It's a form where you can teach other things,
Oh,
and that's one of the things that I was doing with Jackson Public Schools with the Ask for More Arts program. Is we would go in and use art to teach other things such as like math and history and sciences, and so we incorporate it into the other curriculum. So that's the future that I see in it. It could go a long way.
that's amazing and so important. My
Hmm.
goodness. Is there any style or type of thing that you do that's very unique to you, in your work?
Yeah, I mean, not a lot of people doing wood burning, but there are people that is doing it. But one thing that I haven't seen that I've done was creating these wooden puzzle pieces. Um, I haven't seen that anywhere, and so I think it's very different. The response I get from some viewers says the same thing. So
So I've seen some of those pieces, and you do those on a large scale,
yeah,
often on a very large scale. I think there's something there was on exhibit at the BB King Museum, an image of him as puzzle pieces, and so
yeah.
you burned
So
his image. Mm-hmm.
I can show you that now. It's sitting
Yeah,
here in my.
sure.
Let's go here. This the piece here, and each piece has a different marking. That's another unique thing that I haven't seen others do. I have the pointillism and the hatching dots for each puzzle piece that creates the whole image itself. And that piece is a pretty large piece. It's like a 5 by 4, something like that.
Amazing, wonderful. And you've done other puzzle pieces as well. And have
Yes.
you done them on a small scale, though? I hadn't seen any of your smaller pieces as puzzles.
Yeah, I've had some smaller ones. A lot of those have sold.
Nice.
Um,
Mhm.
yeah, those goals. They're cheaper, so they go a little faster. So.
And you've done some really, really fun things that I thought were unique. Let's talk about that a little bit. The little faces. I love
Oh
that.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I mean, I do magnets, which is something that's also different with the wood burning. I haven't seen anyone do those, but uh,
right, right.
these pieces here, these pieces here, the little faces of.
They're so whimsical. They're so much fun. They can go in your office on the filing cabinets. They can
Yeah,
go on your refrigerator. And talk about the hair. That hair looks real.
it is real hair. It's I, I was thinking about doing a project, and I wanted to have locks for them, and it's one of those things where, friends of mine was cutting their hair, and some of mine that come off at the ends, and I would just use them as the hair on some of the pieces.
Oh,
Yeah,
that is fine. Mighty fine. Those are
mm,
so much fun and they're very affordable.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That
They're
no,
great gifts.
no.
Let's look around your studio.
Okay, okay,
So this is where you work. This is where you audition your work.
right. This is where I do different pieces. We can go here. Let's see here. I have paintings too, so I do paintings. I do wood burns.
Nice.
Uh, this is a piece I'm working on. It's not quite done yet.
That looks so lifelike. It looks like a photographed.
Go here in the hallway here. I have pieces hanging. My studio is at 121 Millsaps Avenue as well. So this is where we at.
Talk about what goes on there. What that's a corridor, isn't it, of artists and different things happening?
Yes, it's just a lot of photographies here, a lot of photographers here, and so there's like various different artists that has studio space here, painters, um, some graphic designers, musicians, and such like that. So yeah, it's a variety of different people, and we host exhibits. One of my favorites it's another piece. One of my favorites that I remember was Danny Glover had came, and he came here to my studio and enjoyed the show, and it was awesome. And he stayed for a while. It was a nice thing.
Cool. I mean, this separates you from a hobbyist. Man, there's no way this could be just a hobby. This is a professional artist, a craft member who is a fellow, which means you had to adjudicate 4 times and you
Yeah,
know to be proven. Your work had to meet what we call standards in order to achieve the status of fellow. And most
right,
fellows have learned and studied the history of their art form, the ins and outs of their art forms, and it's a standout. And we appreciate the effort that goes into doing that. So people could come visit you at your studio. And how can they get in touch with you?
yes. You can my website is broshambe.com. I'm also on Instagram at Shambe Jones, and you can email at me at broshambe@gmail.com. That's BROSHAMBE @gmail.com.
Awesome, awesome. We're not finished talking though. And then
That's
are you on Facebook and
no Instagram.
oh, you're not on Facebook?
No.
Okay, okay. I assume everybody's on Facebook. So talk about what, you've adjudicated and what did that mean to you? What was that like for you? Because there are people listening that they want to go through this process. They want to move from being a hobbyist. Talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, so I was encouraged from another previous craft member, and I didn't think about it, but I just said, well, let me try it, and so I did, and I got in. But then as I started looking at some of the work that others were doing, I seen how serious it was and how uh, it was the level of professionalism was very high. So that was an encouraging thing, and from there I it sort of passed by sort of fast to me because like after every 3 years you got to redo it. For me, the process of redoing it was a little hectic, but I got it done and I was able to make it again. And so we are a fellow now, and that's a beautiful thing. I'm loving it.
It's a beautiful
I'm
thing.
trying people too to join.
Yeah. Did it make you a better artist in any way?
I would say so. I mean, I think that it gave me ideas because a lot of people will come and they'll see things and they'll be like, well, you ever thought about this and you ever thought about that? And I was like, oh, okay, that's a good idea, good interesting thought. And so I started incorporating some of those ideas that some of the customers had into some of the pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
definitely.
Excellent, excellent. Have you participated in art exhibitions, in art festivals, or craft festivals where you have exhibit space and show your work? And help me understand where you've shown your work.
Yeah, I've shown I do a lot of exhibiting here in Jackson, but I've shown in other states as well. Um, I was part of this traveling show with slipping my mind now. Jack Daniels. Jack Daniels had a traveling show, and I was a part of that did St. Louis, we did Atlanta, we did I did one in Chicago. It was here a couple of times. So yeah, it's been a nice thing. And I do the Chimneyville almost every year.
Mhm.
Then the customers come back and want to see what's new, and that's always a fun event, because with me loving music, and I do a lot of the greats, I get stories that people have of their experiences with them, and that's always a beautiful thing.
When you say you do some of the greats, you mean you reproduce their images on wood? Hmm.
Yes,
Okay.
I do like BB King or Aretha Franklin, Michael Jackson, and it's just a variety of different artists. It's such a big list. I haven't got to everybody just yet either.
Right. Wonderful. So you got a lot of work to do.
I
Um,
do. Thanks.
I think there's something else I know about you as well, that it's not all about you. You do some producing shows as well, don't you? Art shows, exhibits.
Yeah, yeah. I also, like I said, I've organized mural festivals, art festivals, and also this series of exhibits that we had going on before COVID, called Art House Tech House. And I would basically reach out to the local artists and provide them an opportunity to be part of that exhibit, that usually don't get a chance to exhibit in spaces, or maybe don't know how to approach a gallery, or where to go to do that. So we created that to invite them in to be able to do that and encourage them to continue with their craft.
And I don't know that the artwork has been adjudicated in or anything, but I've been to some of those art shows, and it's been really, really nice works that are displayed. So you've looked around and found some credible artists that needed some good
Mhm.
exposure, and that's been great. That's been great.
Yeah.
Um, I think this my I'm getting close to my final questions. You heard of the John C. Campbell Folk Art School or Penland, and there are places where people could go off and have experiences, dibble and dabble a little bit from and work with professionals to create something. It's like adult enrichment classes. What do you think of something like that coming to the Craft Center?
I'm not familiar with that, but I think the idea is absolutely great. I think that, I mean, the more arts that you can expose people to, gives them a release, and especially in times like this, like that is very much needed. And I think it would be a beautiful addition to the Craftsman's Guild.
Yes, yes. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
Um, yes. There will be an exhibit at 911 Palmera Street at 1:30 uh, on 911 Palmera Street on the 21st of this month, that me, Sabrina Howard, and Tatman will be doing. So we encourage folks to safely come out, if you can, and check that out, and to also stop by the Craftsmen Center on Rice Road and look at the artwork and the crafts that the craftsmen and craftswomen have created. We do have the exhibit in the George Berry uh, room, so please go check that out.
And that exhibit is going on through the month of February, but we have artwork in the gallery
Right,
and the George Berry Room as well. And then some of the Mississippi craftsmen, the Guild members' works are shown at the Pearl Outlet Mall as well. Very good.
right.
Tell us one more time how we can get in touch with you.
Okay. Email BROSHAMB at gmail.com. That's my email. I have my website is broshambe.com. And my Instagram page, which I have a lot of my work on, is Shambe Jones. So you can reach me there, or you can also go to the Craftsman Center and request, and they will get in touch with me as well.
Thank you, Bro Shambe. And I'd like to thank all the listeners for tuning in to the Crafty View. See you again next time.
All right.